bamboo cutting board. We're going to laser engrave one side of this, like this, with kitchen conversions. And back when I was a youngin', you had to just know this stuff, especially when I was in like chemistry class, stuff like that. You had to know how many cups were in a gallon and etc. And how, of course, this doesn't go into the metric system of milliliters. We also had to know that, and we needed to know how to convert it. I don't remember how to do that now, but that's what smartphones are for. At any rate, I'm going to show you how to laser engrave this and where you can get these cutting boards inexpensively. Coming up. I'm Roger, welcome to the shop, and this is beginner laser project number 21, I believe, or no, it's 22. Project number 22. And we're going to be laser engraving on bamboo. So where do you get these bamboo cutting boards for cheap? Well, if you go to your local Dollar Tree, and hopefully you have one around somewhere, they have this called Family Buffet Bamboo Cutting Board, $5. And it's roughly a ½ inch thick. And it engraves very, very well. Another source, if you don't have a Dollar Tree around you, maybe you have a Wally World or a Target, that's a fancy word for Target, or someplace like that, where you may be able to find bamboo cutting boards. So I'm going to walk you through this step by step so you don't get bamboozled. So first we'll go to the computer. I'll show you how everything lays out. There's 3 different versions of this for a 10 watt, a 20 watt, and a 30 watt. So we'll go into Lightburn. I'll show you how that gets set up. Okay, so here we are in Lightburn, and I am using the Algo Laser Alpha again. And there are 3 versions of this file. There is a 10 watt, a 20 watt, and a 30 watt, depending on which laser you have. There is no 5 watt laser version because I no longer have any 5 watt lasers. I have pretty much eliminated all of my 5 watt stuff and stuck with just 10, 20, and 30. So, getting into the cuts and layers, I'll explain these a little bit. This is all grouped already, so if you would click on that, it will actually highlight the whole thing. And of course, you want to make sure it's centered. I am working here from absolute coordinates. In my job origin, it's actually centered, but it doesn't matter here when you're in absolute coordinates. So on my cuts and layers, the T1, that's this red one here on the outside, or orange, or whatever color that is. Orange, I guess. That is just a toolpath. That is just to show when you frame this to make sure it's on your work. I have a layout grid on my laser, so it'll be easy for me to get this lined up and centered. Go to the next layer, and I don't name my layers, I just leave them whatever. It says labels, but it's a line engrave. And for the 20 watt version here, we're doing 6,000 millimeters per minute at 80% power with 2 passes. The reason I'm doing that is it reduces the scorching on the bamboo where the lines meet. There'll still be a little bit, but it won't be very pronounced. Next one here is the blue, which is, I'm using offset fill because it's a little quicker and I like the way it looks when it on the finished product. That's 3,000 millimeters per minute at 40% power, 1 pass. And then my little hand down here, that is a line at 4,000 millimeters per minute at 60% power. If I would use the same as I use for everything else up there with the line engraves, the cuff of the sleeve on the little hand there gets very, very scorched. So that's why I changed the settings on that. So now we can take this and take it to the laser. Okay, so there's all the files and everything and what all the cuts and layers are. I made 3 versions of this because not everybody has a 30 watt laser, and everybody has a 20, and everybody has a 10. Again, I didn't do a 5 watt version of this because I have sold all of my 5 watt lasers. I don't have any 5 watt lasers anymore. So first thing you need to do, and don't forget to do this, is take the plastic off, because if you leave the plastic on, you'll probably have a mess. So now we need to get this set up on the laser bed here. And since I have a layout grid, it's very, very easy. Of course, above all, don't forget set your focus. Of course, with what I was cutting on here, or engraving on here last, this wouldn't even have cleared the work. So I'll move this over here, I push my little foot down, lock this back in place, push the button. Again, this is the algo laser. Your laser may be different. So now I'm going to send this home, and then I'll get my project centered on the grid. Cutting board is 11 3/4 inches wide. Half of that is 5 3/8. My 200 millimeter mark right here is the center of my layout board. I can just bring this down and line that mark up. Then I can look at the edge over here and line it up straight with one of the grids. So we should be good to go right there. And just for giggles here, I will frame this. You should do this anyway if you're not really up on your laser. If you're new to this, framing it is good insurance to make sure you are in the center of your workspace. And once you're sure everything is where it's supposed to be, you can just hit start. Total engraved time on the 20-watt version here is 44 minutes and 50 seconds. Of course, we won't video this whole thing, but it gives you an idea. Okay, it's starting on the fill now. That'll be the letters and numbers. A couple little safety things here, of course, is make sure you wear your safety glasses or your goggles if you are looking at that laser beam. Even though there is a shield on there, that's really hard on your eyes. And if you happen to get on the back side where there is no shield, depending on your laser, you definitely want to have these on, because it will damage your eyes if you look at that. Even if it's just for a moment, when you look away, you'll be seeing those blue dots, and that's very, very hard on your retinas. You'll also need to be in a well-ventilated area because this makes smoke. And I'm out in the shop here. I got the man door open over here. I got the overhead doors open over there. I don't have the overhead door open right here because with the flame detection on these lasers, if ultraviolet light hits it from the sun, it'll shut the laser off. I found that out the hard way. And I don't disable the flame sensors. I just make sure that door is shut when I'm operating this right here. Another thing I should have mentioned was that for your laser bed, you will need to have a 400 millimeter on the y-axis minimum, because that is 15.75 inches, and this project toolpath is 15.5 inches. The actual cutting board is 16 inches. So you can't do it on a little small, like an Atom Stack P9 or something like that. You couldn't do it on that. You need to have a full-size laser here with at least 400 millimeter square bed, or I should say at least 400 millimeters on the y-axis. If you've got one that you don't have it that much there, but you got it the other way, you could turn the whole thing sideways and just turn your image 90 degrees and light burn. So we'll let this keep doing its thing. So there it is, complete. Now we'll talk about finishing it. Just hear it. Okay, first coat is dried. Well, it's good even coat on there. I'll just let this one dry. Probably do a light sanding on it and then put a final coat. So what did I do for a finish on here? This is 3 coats of polyacrylic just on the side here with the kitchen conversions. And it was sprayed. Do not be tempted to brush a finish on this unless you do a first coat of some type of spray, or the black that's in there will come out and it will smear and you'll have a mess. Do not put any finish on the other side. Then I added some little cork round pieces here that I cut out of a, actually I cut out of a little sheet of adhesive back cork. So they look like this. I got adhesive on one side. And okay, where do you get that? Well, I cut them out of coaster bases that we use, but you can also get adhesive back sheet cork at your craft store. Sometimes Dollar Tree has it as well. So what kind of care do you need to do with this? Well, first off, do not put it in the dishwasher. Even if it wasn't engraved, do not put a bamboo or a wood cutting board in the dishwasher. They're meant to be hand washed. Is the polyacrylic food safe? Well, yes, but you shouldn't be having food contacting this side because this is the bottom. This is the side you use for your food prep. And again, this should be hand washed and then hand dried. And if you wanted to, you could put a mounting hole up here and you could hang it on the wall. I didn't do that on here, but you certainly could. Okay, what can you do with these? Well, aside from using them for yourself, these make excellent wedding gifts for the new young bride that may not be real familiar with cooking. Women still do cook, don't they? I know I do most of the cooking here, but I think girls are still wanting to know how to cook, or guys, either way. This is a handy conversion chart. So they make a great wedding gift. It's also, it would be a very, very good selling item at a craft fair or a flea market or online with your business. So how much would you sell this for? Well, I traded one for a bottle of Captain Morgan, big one too. And that's not what I usually do though. We would sell these for $25 or $30 depending on what the market is and where you're at. So there's a little idea. I've got $5 invested and a little bit in the finish. Of course, a little bit of time. Of course, when I make a lot of these, we run them in batches. I don't just sit and make one at a time and then finish one at a time. We do things in a production type batch, which cuts down your time involved, and if you got to pay yourself, so it cuts down on that. So again, this was laser project number 21 for the beginner. It's not difficult. Even if you're not a beginner, it's a good project. So where do you get this file? There'll be a link in the description where you can go to our website and you can download this file for free. So if you got anything out of this, appreciate getting a thumbs up. Always helps the channel. Again, the laser I was using here is the Algo Laser Alpha, and I'll put a link in the description where you can get one of those. This is a 20-watt model, and it has automatic air assist. It's a pretty slick little laser, and it's got the right size bed for doing this kind of thing. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.